which will face severe water crisis, India is among the top 5. Though we get...
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. Yeah, ma'am. Tell me, ma'am.
Mr. Vijayraj.
Yeah, I'm able to hear you. Tell me, ma'am.
Sir, your voice is breaking.
Okay. Internet. Now you are able to hear me, ma'am?
Yes, we are able to hear you.
Yeah, now it's clear.
Yeah.
You can proceed.
So as I was telling, India is one of the water-starved country today. Out of the 17 countries, according to the survey, out of the 17 countries which will face severe water crisis, India is among the top 5. Though we get an average annual rainfall of 1,270 mm of rainfall. 1,270 mm of rainfall means for just 1,000 square feet of roof area or 1,000 square feet of area, you get about 1,20,000 liters of water every year. Though we get so much of rainfall, still, day by day we are seeing water table depleting. In last 30 years, when we started our borewells, digging of the borewells, in the late 60s and early 70s, we started our borewells. In just 30 to 40 years, we have depleted our groundwater to the maximum extent. Today, in some of the places, you can see the water table has gone as deep as 1,500 feet, half a kilometer down. From, when we started drilling the borewells, the water table was at 100 feet and, continuously extracting the water. Today, we have reached to this. Today, agriculture uses 65% of the water, for its irrigation. Out of this 65%, you'll see that 83% of the water is from the groundwater. That is one of the major reasons, groundwater table is depleting so badly. And when the groundwater table depletes, the soil moisture contents comes down drastically. Though we are getting an average annual rainfall, but what has happened is because of the climatic changes, the intensity of the rainfall has changed. If you see, meteorological department's report of last 40 years, you will see that, rainfall has not come down. But you ask any of the common farmer, he will tell, sir, rainfall has come down. In my childhood days, it used to rain so much. Today, it's not raining. But that is not true. Because if you see meteorological department's report, as I told earlier, you will see that, rainfall is in fact increased a little bit in some places, but it has remained constant. What has changed is because of the climatic changes, the intensity of the rainfall has changed. That means to say the number of the rainy days has come down, or the number of the rainy hours have come down. So what is happening is earlier, which used to rain in 24 hours, the drizzling, small rainfall which used to come slowly, that would have helped the soil to retain the moisture content. That would have helped the water to reach to the lower zones. Now what happens in short span of time, there is a huge intensity of the rainfall. So what happens if all the water is rushed out, means it flows to the low-lying areas. So low-lying areas get flooded. You must have observed that in last 5 to 7 years, you have seen a lot of flooding happening, lot of water loss is happening. So that is the reason generally when you see lot of agricultural lands are going dry. We are facing severe water crisis everywhere. We are not able to take all the 3 crops which we are supposed to take. We are just can take 1 or 2 crops. Water today has become so scarce in many of the areas. Even there is, if you take example of Cherrapunji, which gets about 11,000 mm of rainfall, still in the summer, they buy water, 1 tin of water at 4 rupees. Because we have failed to manage this water. This is a common scenario you see everywhere. Flooding happens in the rainy season, and next 5 or 6 months down the line, there is shortage of water. This shortage of the water and flooding are the two faces of the same coin. If we could have managed our water during the rainy season, we would have never faced the water crisis during the summer. Now, what is happening is because of this dry zone and water is not able to absorb into the soil. The as you are all aware, because you are all agriculture student, you will understand that today soil carbon content is the very important thing. The moisture content, which helps in developing the microbes, the much needed microbes, which helps in increasing the soil carbon content, which helps in increasing our food production, is going. We are losing the. You must have heard a lot of cries today that soil is dying. Why is soil dying? Because of the moisture content is coming down. Once the moisture content is coming down, the carbon content is not getting improved, and that is not the day by day our crop, we are losing the crops. The quantity of the yield is coming down, and that is the reason farmers is in a great stress. If you could have managed our water, if you could manage our water. Now, rainwater harvesting in agriculture land is not a very big, it's not a rocket science. Our forefathers have been using this since, the oldest known rainwater harvesting in India is Mohenjo-daro and Harappa civilization, Indus Valley civilization, where they had, good knowledge of the rainwater harvesting. They used to manage the rainwater harvesting. Now because we thought borewells are the ultimate. We thought, borewells, once we start the borewell, we get the water. And that's why what we did was we closed all the open wells, which are very much in need, so that, the soil, shallow water, moisture content to retain the soil, so shallow water moisture content of the soil. This open wells played a very vital role. But what we did once we started borewell, we closed all the open wells, or we made them as a dustbin. And that is how, we are facing so much of problem today. Now, to come back, how do we improve this? When we are getting enough rainfall, how do we improve the water contents of our soil or save water so that we can have more crop per drop, per drop of water? That is what Israel is doing. If you see Israel, you'll be surprised to know, because whenever we talk of examples of saving water, Israel comes to us in the forefront. With just 100 mm of rainfall, they get on their average annual rainfall is just 100 mm, as against our average annual rainfall of 1,270 mm. 100 mm rainfall, they are able to manage the water needs of their whole country, and they are exporting their water to Jordan and Syria. If with 100 mm they can do it, why not, with 1,200, 12 times more than them. So, if you take this one, so what happens if it just rain 25 mm of rainfall, you call 1 inch of rainfall, we get 1 lakh liters of water on a land. Even if you consider the lowest rainfall of 500 mm, still you are getting about 25 lakh liters of water on just 1 acre of land. As I told you earlier, because of the intensity of the rainfall and we are not able to manage the water, this water goes away. Hardly 10 to 20% percolates, and with the day by day, when the carbon content is coming down, the retention of the moistures in the soil is coming down. It is both interlinked. So as the moisture comes down, carbon content decreases. Once the carbon content decreases, the moisture holding capacity and the nutrient holding capacity of the soil is lost. So what we can do in this scenario, how do we save? See, because after this agriculture green revolution, which is phenomenal, increased our production. But what happened is we failed to manage our water. Though we could increase our yield in the farms by the green revolution, but we didn't pay the importance, or we didn't pay the attention towards sustaining the water. You must have observed that a lot of open wells were closed in many of the farms because of the borewells. And now that we have understanding that borewell is not infinite, out of the every 10 borewells, still we get hardly water in 5 to 6 borewells. 50% is the failure rate during the drilling itself. And what happens is, even after 1 year, another 2-3% borewell fails. So the strike rate of water today has come down as low as 30 to 40% everywhere. Means it is, except for the few pockets, which have a huge rainfall, or our Ganges plains where they get perennial water source. All majority of the river source have been dried up, and majority of the places are facing this water shortage problem. So what we can do, how we can immediately improve the water availability in our ponds in the farms is, one is that we can go for farm ponds, so that whenever the water is coming, we have a lot of, we make pits also in the higher altitude. We make a lot of pits, and in the lower altitude, in the lowest point of our land, we can make a farm pond. These farm ponds, in case, can be lined with the clay, in the fine clay, whatever you get in the beds of the lakes and ponds. We can line them with that, so that the water retention is there. Or now you have got nylon based HDP liners which are available. We can line them, and then you can store the water. But the best thing is to do is to have the clay, so that there is always life which can be there. Because this black liners what we are providing, because of the temperature increase, the evaporation losses are more. These ponds can be done at the lowest point, as I pointed out. And before we leave the water to these ponds, what we have to do is we have to make a series of silt traps. These are concreted silt trap, but normal pits if you can make, so that the water gets into the pits and then rises again by siphoning effect, so that the heavier particles, mud and all, settles down. So if you can do in the path of the water coming to your pond, series of, if you can make series of the check dams or the pits, it will stop the mud flowing into your lakes or ponds, whatever the farm ponds you are creating, so that you need not desilt them and the cost doesn't increase. So the simple mechanism of making the silt trap will avoid the silt getting into your ponds. So here you are seeing, but what happens is, here, whatever the pond you are seeing, this is not a methodology to make a farm pond, because here, if you make this pond without any shades and this one, the evaporation losses are more than 50%. And during the summer, when we require the water the most, there will be no water. So what this is one of the photos which is showing how the liner has been made, and beautifully lined ponds which you can use it for your farms. So what we are suggesting is, whenever you are making a farm pond in the east and the west, which generally a lot of this one is there, if you can create trees surrounding your pond, which can avoid the direct sunlight to the pond, the evaporation losses can be avoided. What you can do is, otherwise, if you are making a pond, you can use the shade net. You can tie the guy wires, across this one, and put a shade net, so that the evaporation, because the major culprit in the farm ponds is the evaporation losses, which need to be avoided. This can be done in a very simple methodology by, as I told you, many of the farmers I have seen in Kolar, they use the used saris which are available very cheap, 5 rupees or 10 rupees one sari is available, and it's a big enough synthetic saris. So they weave it together and make a shade net, and on the guy wires they can put this. So you can use your own innovative ideas, so that you avoid. Here you can see they have put a shade net also, and then they have we can grow ajola on the top. Ajola is one of the crop which can be fed for our cows also, and if it is spread over the water on your pond, it can avoid the evaporation losses also. So that can be 2-in-1 benefit also. Then what happens is, in case you have got a higher altitude, if you are, there's a majority of our farms are today using drip irrigation. So what you can do is, from this pond, because there will be a lot of water flowing during the rainy season, but you need to store this water without getting evaporated. So so these kind of very cheap available tanks, low cost galvanized tanks are available these days, which can be put on a highest altitude. Means if in the lowest area you make the pond, in the higher side you make the these kind of platforms, and rise it above and put a tank on that, and from there you can directly connect it to your drip irrigation system. So by gravity only you can irrigate your land. So if you can put solar pumps during the daytime, these solar pumps will push the water from the ponds to these tanks. This will be stored, and whenever you want to irrigate, you just, because these are at a higher height altitude, you have placed them. So with the gravity only, you will be very easily able to irrigate your land. So thereby you are saving, because today power is also a major concern. One of the major culprit for the farmers is the power also. So because you get power in the night, and in daytime you don't get the power, and power that too also you get power in for a small time. So you can you make use of the benefits, because there are beautiful solar pumps which have come, which can be used, and you can just put a small activated silica sand filters, and then you can allow this water to go. Now my only thing is ki we should rejuvenate all the wells that are abundant now, because they play a very vital role in sustaining the farm moisture or the shallow level recharging. As we have only started taking the water from the deeper aquifer, this shallow water is already always available at 25 feet, 30 feet. Now you can find water, because if to just give you an example, in the Bangalore's airport area, Devanelli side, the water table in the borewell is about 1,500 feet deep. But we recently, in the last week, we dug a well, and the water table in water, we got it at 35 feet. So the shallow water is still available, because we are not extracting this water. So, this will help in a very big way to sustain our fawn. And what happens is the flooding will not happen. And when we have got a feeders to this one where we are making silt traps, this will avoid the soil from your precious soil going out of the farm. Because what happens when the intensity is more and you are not having any chucks to chuck this soil erosion, it will take away all your nutritious soil, because the only yielding soil is only 36 inches. Rest all is waste. All your crop grows only because of these 36 inches of soil. This is the nutrient rich soil, and then the carbon content is there. This is the soil which helps you to grow your crop. So you have to sustain this soil. Because of the rainfall, as I said, intensity is more, that will take away your soil. So you have to have small chuck bunds. You have to have small bunds, and then allow the water. So the only concept in your farm you have to allow is, you have to make the running water walk and walking water stop. Simple concept of rainwater harvesting and groundwater recharging to sustain your farm. So that will help in sustaining your soil also, that soil erosion that is happening, and it will save the precious soil in your land only, and the water also. The concept should be you should not allow a single drop of water that is falling in your land to the outside. Rather, you should get water from outside to your land. Make a well, make a pond, make small chuck dams in the strong rain, which is getting water to this pond and as well as to the well, and make a few silt traps. There also the water sustains. So like this, you can make your own, full sustainable ecosystem of water, wherein you save this kind of water, so that instead of taking one crop, you can go for the second crop also, because the water is available. And then you can, in case you are going for two crops, if you are available, you can go for the third crop. In well also you'll get water, in pond also. That just as a standby, you need to go for a borewell, because every land has got 1, 2, 3 borewells. So what we are supposed to do is, the excess water from this pond, or when the well is filled, we need to recharge our borewell. We need to recharge our borewell, so the borewells are sustained. We don't remove the water during the rainy days. For at least 150 to 200 days, we need not switch on our borewell at all, and sustain the water there. When you are doing this rainwater harvesting, it is not only improving the quantity of the water, but it will improve the quality of the water. What happens, if you see in the borewell water, the water, as we go deeper and deeper, the water quality of the water deteriorates, because a lot of minerals, and the joints, and then there is hardness in that, which is not good for plants also. If it is not good for human being, it is not good for plants also. So the shallow water is the softest water and the best water for the plants. As we drink the water, the same it gives the effects to the plants also. So what happens is, if you are using this shallow water from your pond and the wells, your plants will grow in a good this one, and you'll have a very good yields. And then when you are using this excess water to go into the borewell, that will not only increase the yield in the borewell, but also reduce the salinity and hardness because of the dilution effect. So that will be a very good boon for you. So rainwater plays a very vital role. Now, if you have got horticulture crops, and though you are using drip irrigation consumes only for 40% of the water, 30 to 40% of water what you use for furrow irrigation. But in that also, if you're using horticulture crop, this is called as Gutuku Niravari. And this Gutuku Niravari means what you do is when you are putting a horticultural crop, or if you're, let's assume, if you're putting a go up plant, so when you make a trench, what you are supposed to do is, you should take 1-2 inches pipe, and then this pipe, after leaving the 8 inches from the top, from the bottom, you should make the holes. In the pit, before you plant a tree, you place this pipe, and in this pipe you put 10 mm or 6 mm gravels inside that, and then you place the plant. Then what happens is, whenever you are getting your dripper, put it into this. So there are two advantages. One, here what happens is, this will only put the water to the root. There is no water at the top, so there is no evaporation losses. So this will take 30% of the water what is required in the drip irrigation. So you're reducing your water consumption very hugely. So during any drought also, you can sustain your plants by just giving 1 gutuk of water. It's called Gutuku Niravari, because you can just, by giving 1 gutuk of water, you can sustain your plants. So that is one of the main, this one you can adopt in, and all this rainwater what you have stored, you can use. So even if you have a drought, you can sustain your farm. This is one of that. And here, how it helps, if you're having the moisture content, if you're retaining the moisture contents, it will help you to improve your, I have been repeating this because it will help you to increase your carbon content, increase the moisture of the soil. That will really help in, boosting your yield. At the end of the day, we are working to boost the yield. And when we are using rainwater, see, rainwater is highly oxygenated water when it is coming. And then it has got high nitrogen and high in oxygen, because when there is a lightning happening, the nitrogen fixing takes place. During the, you must have all studied, because you have come from the science background, you understand how the nitrogen fixing takes place. And then when the water is coming, during its course of time, when it comes from the clouds to the ground, it absorbs a lot of oxygen. That you must have observed that, whatever every day, even if we water to our garden, in our house or in our plantation, but whenever it rains, the color, whole thing gets changed. You can see a visible difference between one rainfall and every day you are watering also. It is because it's highly oxygenated water, oxygen rich water, which is required by the plants also. So you can see a lot of difference when it rains, and the whole thing changes. And but even if we water for every day, we'll not see that kind of change. So rainwater plays a very vital role today. We have to understand the simple logic of saving the rainwater, so that we sustain our plantation and our agriculture needs, whatever the water needs of the agriculture, good fresh water, clean water, which can be met. As we go deeper and deeper, the quality of the water deteriorates, the yield comes down, the soil also becomes saline. And once the soil becomes saline, the soil retention, moisture retaining capacity of the soil also is lost. So we need to take care of them. So here you can see in this picture, it very clearly explain how this rainwater is going to the low-lying area, and borewell or borewells are not getting recharged. So there are different methodologies to recharge the borewell. One is called as V-wire injection well, innovative technologies which has been patented by our company. And in this, what you do is you bypass this overburden of the clay, rock, go to the first permeable zone and put the water there. Because what happens is, when you're having the surface water, you cannot recharge that directly to the borewell, because this surface water, we don't know what kind of water it is coming. Some neighbor would have sprayed pesticide, and if it rains next, the pesticide residues will come, or if there is a dead dog or anything is there, or any of the microbes which have been developed because of some rodents getting have died. So all this water coming, you cannot put directly into the borewell. So you have to do one more borewell next to the existing borewell, and then go to the first permeable zone, leave the water there. Just making by pits, you can recharge the shallow aquifer, not to the deeper aquifer. The example for this is, there are many ponds and lakes available. So they have got the water for 365 days, and they are much deeper than our pits we are making. But if we would have drilled borewells next to the ponds, we should have got 4-5 inches of water, which is not happening. Many of the lakes in our Bangalore, which are having water 365 days, in their walking tracks, what they have made surrounding the lakes, the borewells have dried up. That means to say, whatever the water we put it in the shallow aquifer doesn't recharge our borewell. Only very few, maybe hardly 1 or 2% in whole of this one recharges, because if they have got that kind of cracks. Otherwise, just when you are making a pits of 10 to 12 feet or 15 feet and putting the water, this recharges our shallow aquifer, which is good for our open wells. So, if you have any open wells in our farm which have been abandoned, we should clean that and see that we have lot many of these, recharging structures, pits, and we allow this water to these pits, and so that, automatically your well will, come back to life again. We can always see that the life in the open wells again, and then we can use this open wells for at least 9 to 10 months. Hardly last 2 or 3 months, let's assume March, April, May, March, April, May, these 3 months are the crucial where we may not get water in the wells. These 3 months can be sustained through our bore wells which we are having, which we have recharged them during the rainy season. So this is a methodology. Any of my, because of the constraint of the time, I'll not go much into the technologies of all the technological factors of this recharging. My friends, I can share this videos with you, and you can always contact us. We'll be able to help you out and guide you how do we recharge the borewells. Herein, you can see in this picture, wherein we allow all this water which is running out in case we have got a confined zone where there is no pesticides and there is nothing. This one, then we can recharge the borewell, not otherwise. If you don't know the water which is coming, then you need to do injection well. But if the water which is coming from your own field, which you are doing on organic farming without using any pesticides and all, then you can do this kind of structures and recharge your borewells, wherein you bypass this water by a fortified filtration media, and then this water comes and this water enters into your borewell, which in turn increases the yield in the borewell, as well as the quality of the water also is taken care, because of the dilution effect. So this is the injection well system, wherein these kind of structures are made next to the bore wells, and then there is a silt trap. You allow the water to come into the silt trap, and this water gets filtered through the filtration media at the top, and then this water, as I told you earlier, bypasses this overburden of the clay and rock and go to the first permeable zone. Thereafter it gets filtered through the earth crust and then reaches your bore well. So if you are using this water for the drinking water and all, still this water will be the safest, because 1 meter of 1 meter by 1 meter of compressed earth, if you take the filtration capacity of that, no filtration capacity on the world can match the kind of the filtration that can be done through the earth crust, compressed earth crust. So what we do is, before we do any of these kind of the structures, vertical electric sounding is done, a proper understanding of the soil strata of the earth, so that you can bypass this kind of the earth and go to the first permeable zone is done. It's a totally technical aspects, wherein you bypass this overburden of the clay portion and the non-permeable zone and go to the first permeable zone and leave the water. Here in this picture, which can very well explain you the effects of the recharging, because see, if you see this water going in the this storm drain would have gone down without recharging our borewell because of the gradient. So what we have done is, next to the borewell, we have made an injection well and a silt trap in the storm drain. So the water which would have otherwise gone down to the low-lying areas is stopped there. From there, it is sent to the injection well. From there, injection well, it goes to the first permeable zone after getting filtered through the filtration media, and that then it recharges the borewell, which is about 10 to 15 feet away, because the water's characteristic is always to move from higher concentration to lower concentration. Because of the extraction of the water from the borewell, the surrounding area of the borewell would have become dry. So when we put a lot of water in the injection well, the water tends to get filtered and move towards the borewell. So when you insert a camera after proper recharging, you would see a lot of horizontal fissures, water coming out of these fissures horizontally, not only the water from the bottom. So this will improve the quality and the quantity. We have done a lot of case studies done by our sitting now present secretary also, medical, this one, Mr. Vijayraj Singh, who gave us a dried borewell, And then with this technology, we could recharge his borewell, put the solar pumps, and you can see only his farm is green. So like that, we have got more than 14,700 such case studies which have been done where we have recharged this borewell successfully. It is not a rocket science, it is not a very good rocket science, wherein you have to do. It is simple technology. Whatever the water we have extracted by using some common sense and scientific reasoning, we have allowed this water to percolate. The whole concept, as I told you earlier, and I'm repeating, we should not allow a single drop of water from our land to go out. Either we should store it, recharge it, and reuse it. So this is how this technology has helped. We have been. This is a small video I would like to play, which gives you. It's hardly 1 minute video. It gives you.
Getting waste can get stored and disposed of. Have a look at this method. The water is entering bore well, but the water that is getting settled at the bottom of the bore. This perforator layer is getting the water filtered, and the clean water starts spilling out down the bore. Now the water is passing through the lever screen, and the stream of water starts getting collected on the poles of glass. Try this method and utilize the water in the best way. Advantages: purifies and reduces salinity and fluoride content in the boiler, increases groundwater level by recharging, reduces seawater ingress in coastal belt. Getting paid.
There are many videos which we have. Probably, if I have got 2 minutes, I can play this video. Probably, can I, ma'am?
Yeah, you can play, sir.
Surface runoff is diverted through a water channel to a silt trap. Body of the silt, leaves, dust, and debris settles in the silt trap. And the clean water is led into the injection well, passing through multi-layers of filtration media placed at the top of the injection well. The runoff water is accommodated in a specially designed storage well, which creates a well-defined water column, injecting large quantities of water into the deeper layers of the semi-impervious soil strata through the non-clogging V-wire screens attached to the specifically designed percolator pipe, placed to a depth of 30 meters below the ground. The water column and the dual V-wire screen facilitates the filtered rainwater to reach weathered and permeable zone. Thereafter, it becomes easy for the water to percolate into the deeper layer of the earth strata by capillary action through dry joints and cracks. Farmland rainwater harvesting systems has developed this unique V-wire injection well technology to recharge and replenish the groundwater source. This technology has found wide acceptance both in public and private sectors because of its quick success rate to replenish the dried and depleting bore wells. More than 14,700 installations of this unique V-wire injection well technology have been installed pan-India in various government-sponsored projects under National Rural Drinking Water Supply Programs, Suvarna Jala, and also through various Zilla Panchayat, Gram Panchayats, municipalities, Nirmiti Kendras, urban water supply boards, rural water supply boards, groundwater development agencies, Konkan railways, industries, and apartments. This technology not only helps in replenishing the groundwater source, but also tremendously improves water quality through filtration and dilution effect. Farmland V-wire technology does not employ any moving parts. The lifespan of the material is a minimum of 20 years. The maintenance cost involves desilting of the silt trap and replacement of filtration media once in 5 years. Groundwater recharge will bridge the gap between acute shortage and available water during the peak summer months, and the groundwater reserves will remain intact for future generations.
So I would like to stop my presentation over here, and I would love to address any of your queries, because it is better to answer what you want rather than I continuously speak. So I stop my presentation here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for your detailed presentation. I will take up the questions from the participants. In the meantime, can you please? Yeah. Okay. The first question is, what ways does Farmland rainwater harvesting system in Bengaluru help farmers?
In Bangalore, we have got our marketing office, no doubt, but actually Farmland rainwater harvesting system has got a complete research center to sustain, help you people to understand about how do we store water, whatever I have spoken in Chikmagalur. So any of the agricultural university students want to understand all these things and want to see them live, they can come to our research center. It is open for all. They can come study there and do their thesis. They can see how ponds are made, how the wells have been made, how do you rejuvenate the wells, how do you recharge the borewell, how do you improve the quality of the borewell. You will be surprised to know the place where we have made our research center, there is no water in the borewells. But in our 6 acres of research station, there's so much of water that we are supplying water to the 50 acres of farm surrounding our research center. This itself is a success story to help your farmers to understand how by doing recharging you can have water in where the water is not coming in your borewells.
Okay. The next question is, why only a small fraction of farmers practice rainwater harvesting?
I feel it is lack of their awareness. People don't understand what kind of resource the rainwater is. Rainwater is a resource. They think rainwater is a bane because means to tell you in Kannada, or there is a waterlogging issues. So the rainwater is a resource. If you can properly use it, awareness, lack of awareness, how scientifically, how it can be adopted. So we need to create awareness about the importance of the rainwater. Probably our forefathers knew it very well. We in last 30-40 years have forgotten that. We need to again educate the farmers and make them understand the importance of the ponds, importance of the well, importance of the saving the water, importance of the moisture content in the soil. How do you make the pits and save the water? How do you rejuvenate your shallow surface? And all these things we need to educate the farmers, which is very, very important to sustain the water in your farm and to sustain the soil also. Today, both are interlinked. Sustaining water is sustaining soil. For a farm, these are the most essential ingredient. These are the only 2 ingredients which are required apart from the climatic conditions. But first 2 ingredients required for any of the farming activity is the water and the soil. To sustain these 2, the only thing we can do is to have a proper water system, rainwater harvesting system, groundwater recharging system. Thank you.
Okay. The next question is, how does rainfall in Israel compare with India?
See, rainfall, as I told you, rainfall in Israel on an average, if you take, it is 100 mm, whereas in India it is 1,270 mm on an average. There are some places which get 11,000 mm of rainfall like Meghalaya, and the deserts in Rajasthan get about 300 mm or 200 mm. In some places it is lesser than that, but that is very small pocket of land. But otherwise, if you take on an average, the rainfall is good in India. On an average, even if you get 500 mm of rainfall, like ever in Raichur, Gulbarga and all those areas, per acre of land, you get 25 lakh liters of water, 25 lakh liters of water. If you are judiciously using, one is to use the water judiciously and other is to store the water and recharge. you can manage. This is how that Israel with the drip irrigation, that Gutuku Niravari, what we are talking, and proper cropping pattern is also very important. In places where we don't get good water, we are going for paddy, which consumes huge water. In the places where we don't have got water, today we are going for areca. With the places where we don't have got water, we are going for sugarcane. So that is not the proper. We should understand what is the soil conditions, what is the weather conditions, and then go for the cropping, so that we don't get into the distress. Today you see that a lot of farmers are committing suicide. Why? It is because of not selection of the proper crops, not utilizing the water which is falling on their land, getting into the distress because they go on drilling borewell one after other, by borrowing the money and get into the debt trap. And then you have seen so much farmers. It is so painful to when we are going and discovering water on the mass and everywhere backyard, our farmers are committing suicide because they are not able to have proper water for the crops, and their crop dries and their borewell fails and they get into debt trap. It's such a painful thing. It's not a rocket science, as I've been telling you. It's a very simple, common sense things, and mixed with some scientific inputs, you can have a wonderful rainwater harvesting system, groundwater recharging system at your place with a very low cost. Even the cost is not much if you are able to give your labor to that and make these things. Thank you.
Okay. The next question is, what is the minimum viable land size for your rainwater harvesting ideas to be viable?
Any sort of land, if it is viable in a small house also. I told you 1,000 square feet of roof area can get you 1 lakh liters of water. So even your terrace also, for my terrace gardening at my home, I'm using rainwater only. It is not the land. According to the land, you get the water, and according to that water, you can have the crop. So how much water you get, accordingly, you plan the crop, which kind of crop you can grow. It is a combination of these things. You design the crops according to the water availability. Water availability should be the first criteria when you are growing for a crops. We should not go for water intensive crop when there is no water, and we should not take a risk of going to that. Water should be our available water should be 1.5 times more than the water that may require for that. So in sustainability also, when you're going for a crops like areca and all, we should understand if there is a drought for 2 years, are we able to sustain? That should be the question we should put before we go for any of the crop. This one,
Okay.
if you plan it, there should never be a problem in anywhere. Again repeating, if somebody can do beautiful irrigation and agriculture at 100 mm. With so much of rainfall, I don't think there should be any problem for us. It's only management of water which is required.
Okay. I'll move on to the next question, sir.
Yeah, ma'am.
If a farmer is currently using his borewell, how can he benefit by using your services?
See, as I told you, borewell should be the last resort, for farm. First, we should use the farm ponds. Once we use the farm ponds, then we should use the open wells. See, open well also doesn't require much space, So because water is the major ingredient, you have to make provision for all these things. So farm ponds, then to the open wells, and then only to the bore wells. So that should be sustained. And there is n number of recharging pits you should put, in the down gradient, so that the soil also doesn't go, and then there is a retention of the moisture in the soil because you put a lot of water in these recharging structures. So all this put together can be in a bouquet of thing. It can be a beautiful concept. You will save your soil also, you'll be saving your water also, and you'll get quality water, because borewell water is always not a correct water for your irrigation. The correct water for your irrigation is the shallow water, not the deeper water. Deeper water always has got hardness. As you go anything below 300 feet, my friends, the water quality starts getting deteriorated. Any water you take, hardness, as you go deeper and deeper, hardness is there. If hardness water is not good for you, that is not good for plants also. As simple as that. Thank you.
Okay. The next question is from one of our participants, Mr. Sanjay Gupta. He's asking, we have 30 acres of land area. What will be the approximate cost of water harvesting?
See, this water harvesting in a plot, we need to visit the plot, understand your topography, which way the water is going, and then we have to design things for you. So let's assume if all the water is coming at a single, if the topography is only one side, whenever it rains, only water goes from one side outside, then the whole topography, the cost will come down. But if your topography is in 2-3 different sites, then we have to design things. So field visit is important, and then we can really suggest you what all can be done. See, 30 acres is a huge land, and every time it rains just 1 inch ಮಳೆ ಬಂದ್ರೆ 30 ಲಕ್ಷ ಲೀಟರ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಬೀಳುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾರ್ಡ್ಲಿ 10 to 20% ಪರ್ಕ್ಯುಲೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ಮಳೆ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಇಂದ 25 ಲಕ್ಷ ಲೀಟರ್ ನೀರು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. 25 lakh liters of water for just 25 mm of rainfall goes out of your land. And it is not only the water going, it is taking away the top enriched soil also. So water management can be done. We need to visit your farm, and then our experts can guide you. Thank you.
Okay. The next question is, if a borewell is working fine, most farmers will not bother. Is it a good or a bad thing?
It's a really bad thing. If you think that water in borewell is infinite, you are mistaken. Water will not, we already reached to the bottleneck. Another 4 or 5 years down line. Today also, the strike rate of the water in the borewell is only 40 to 50%. And day by day, the water table is falling down drastically. In some places, it is falling as high as 3 meters, 4 meters. It is dangerous. We are in a disastrous situation already. If you don't understand the importance of the water or rainwater harvesting and groundwater recharging, we are moving towards disaster. Ask my friends from Kolar, they will be able to tell you how many borewells they have dug, and one after the other they have failed. So depending on the borewell is, any time it can last. Don't think that, Mother Earth is producing water inside. The water has to come from the sky, and that water has to be properly harvested. Then you can recharge. The water in the borewells is millions and billions of years old. It is as good as fossil water, which have happened, percolated from the day the earth was formed, and slowly it has percolated. We have made them just because we have invented the machinery to drill holes in Mother Earth and remove the water. We thought that water is infinite. Today, after 35-40 years of the borewell, we have come to know that borewells are not infinite. Borewells dry. We don't get water in the borewell. The quality of the water is very bad in the borewell. So you cannot depend upon the borewell. We have to sustain these borewells, whatever the water is there. If you think that borewell is infinite, it will give you water for you, your sons and your grandsons. It is a myth. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, ma'am. Please.
So you are able to hear me?
I can able to hear you.
Okay. Sir, Mr. Sanjay Gupta is asking, what will be the cost for your survey for 30 acres of land? We are in Vrindavan, UP.
This costing we can surely discuss, because we have got dealers throughout the country. What you can do is you can note down my number, and you can call me, but it will be on a mere meager cost of scientists coming to your place and understanding and explaining what to be done. You can take down my number 944.
Sir, we have posted your contact details, sir. Mr. Sanjay Gupta will be
so that would be
get in touch with you, sir.
Yeah. So any personalized question, kindly contact us personally. We'll be surely able to help you and happy to help you. Thank you.
Okay. And again, Mr. Sanjay Gupta is telling, our land has sufficient shallow water and the borewell water is quite salty. Can we somehow reduce the salt over a period of time?
We can reduce when you have got more of shallow water, which is very sweet water. If this shallow water is recharged to your borewell, automatically your borewell water will become sweet. It is a dilution effect. If you have got one glass water with salt and one glass with soft water, you both mix, automatically it will reduce. Like that, when you are telling you have got lot of shallow water, this shallow water we need to recharge the borewell. Automatically your answer lies in your own question. When you have got lot of shallow water and your borewell water is saline, put this water into the borewell, recharge the borewell with the shallow soft water. So automatically your borewell quality water will improve. Thank you.
Okay. One last question is there, sir.
No, not a problem. Please.
How expensive are your services? Who are your targeted customers?
See, our targeted customer is anybody who doesn't have water. Anybody who is facing shortage of water is my targeted customer. And services are customized based. It is not that each and every services will be suited for everybody. We need to customize some of the services. But the overall, we take care of groundwater recharging of the borewells, recharging of the shallow aquifers, and then reuse of the water, helping you to reduce your water consumption, make you to understand what is your water consumption and how you can do, how to use, improve your soil conditions. All those things will help you out. Overall, give you guidance. How you can take care of your farm. As much for the soil as well as the water. We can guide you in these aspects. Thank you.
Okay. One more question has landed, sir. This is from our participants, Mr. Ramesh Vishwanath. We have a lake next to our farm that gets flow from adjoining hills. Borewell depth is 60 feet. Recharge is required?
No, you have got a lot of shallow water, and when the borewell depth is at 60 feet, that is recharging of the borewell is not required. But what you can do is you can have a lot of recharging pits also, and see that you save the water and save the flow of the soil. Because when you are getting a lot of water in the rainy days, try to put it in your land and enrich it with water so that it will sustain during the summer also. If the borewell water is 60 feet. Try to put the water. In case it is taking the water, it is fantastic. Try to, you can do a slug test of your borewell during this summer. Try to get one tanker water, and one tanker water you start putting into your borewell. And if your borewell is taking the water continuously, then during the rainy season, use this water which is coming from the hillock, filter it, have a silt trap, avoid all the silt and the leaves and debris, and then put the recharge. So what happens is this water goes and it enriches the surrounding places. Water keeps moving from higher concentration to lower concentration to increase the concentration in your borewell. So at underneath it will go to the next zone. So during summer when you are drawing the water which has gone away will start coming back, and still you will get back the water. So it will sustain your borewells during the summers. Just try to put the water and see. If it is able to take the water, fantastic. Nothing like that. Continuously recharge it.
Okay. We don't have any further questions, sir. Thank you very much. We have now completed the round of questions. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, we would like to thank Mr. Vijayraj Shisodya for the talk and for answering the questions in depth. I'd like to also thank the participants in this meeting. This meeting will now be closed.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome, sir.
Any of your requirements, kindly contact us. Whatever best possible in my capacity, we will surely help. Because I also belong to a farmer community. I'm basically a coffee planter, and from there I have come into this profession. So I'd love to help my farmer brothers and any of the research students who want to do research on water, who want to understand the water, and can please visit us. Whatever to my best of knowledge we know, will surely help you out. Thank you so much. Thank you.
We have shared your contact details, sir. Our participants will establish contact with you. Okay.
That would be great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sir.